if you're somebody who is considering to be a commercial pilot, watch this video completely to the end. This video has a lot of discussion on how to actually become one. What are the places where pilots, student pilots lose their money, and they get scammed. And the people in this video are very experienced pilots. They give a core insight into how your training should look like. So either watch this video completely or kindly skip the video. There is no in between. So guys, this is Dr. Vamshi. I run a ground school by name Dog Peloton. So here is with us today Captain J. Vyas, sir. Sir has a flying school which is up in, one of the best flying schools in US. All my students who are flying in US are flying from Skyview. And I really thank you, sir, for kind of, considering this and joining for a small video come podcast today. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity for the podcast and all the trust and relationship that we've built over the years. And it's an honor to be trusted by you to be able to train your students in US. Along with me also, we have Captain Rahul Khariwal. This is the guy that I took my classes some 20 years ago. And back then I was flying in India, and eventually I moved to US. I did my training from there. He has a lot of experience in the industry and joining us as our industry expert today. So, Captain.
Hello guys, hello Dr. Vamsi and Captain Vyas for this kind invitation to join along with you guys. Thankful to everybody. And myself, Rahul Khariwal, as he has introduced, I'm flying from past 19 years and guiding all the young aspirants to have the best of the guidance to achieve best in the career. One of the examples, Captain Vyas, now is owning a flying school, and recently met Captain and Captain Vamsi. So thanks for this opportunity. Yes, let's...
Yes, sir. I'm really sorry, sir. We have only one mic and we have to share. I cannot, interrupt.
That's fine.
So when you said, like you're flying from 19 years, sir, you look like 19 years old.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm maintaining that.
Yes, sir.
This is also one aspect. This is also one aspect of aviation, is to take care of your health, and mental health and physical health both are required. This is also one aspect we need to always take care of it.
Yes, sir. So you can look at my mental health but not physical health as of today. Yes, sir. And sir, it is like I'm really honored and I'm really thankful that, like, whomsoever, if a student comes to me and says, sir, suggest me one good flying school. And till date, I have never suggested more than 2 flying schools, and one was yours. Like, you kept all my trust. I'm really thankful to you on behalf of all my students. That student was satisfied at the end of the day. Sir, you have recommended me one of the best schools, to fly from. Like the same experience which they got from the ground school as from me, the same experience they had in terms of flying from you. And I'm really thankful for that on behalf of my students.
And I would like to add to that it's always two-way work. That I'm thankful that you had put that trust in me, and the big team that we have in California. My team works with you. We also get involved to make sure, end of the day, the students, that what we promised them before they came there, that we're actually delivering that. And same thing comes with you and your brand name, that it's a big brand right now in India, that Dog Pilot 10. And so to be able to get associated with that, and I have no other choice but to deliver that. So it's my pleasure to be associated with you.
Sir, as of now, I consider myself a very small, ground school, but coming in next under 5 years, I have really really big plans for my school. So I'll still consider myself very small. And sir, I'll talk about our interaction. How I said yes to Skyview. Like so, when a lot of flying schools really contact me saying, yeah, you have a very good name and you have a very good number of students who are passing from your ground school. At least I have 40 plus percentage of total Indian CPLs happening from my ground school. Now, when a flying school approaches me, I will ask one question, like, why should I send my students to you? Most flying schools answer, the first answer would be in terms of financial benefit. Like, you send me so many students, I'll pay you so much. So if that was the motive of a flying school, like to acquire a student, and they don't talk about the quality which they are going to provide, my answer would be, I'm really thankful that you have approached me. Like, I'll have to think about it and I'll have to discuss with many people in the academy, and then and I generally don't go forward than that. I'll keep on thinking for the rest of my life. So when the Skyview, we were discussing things. Initially, Gaurang sir was also involved, and like, you gave us 10 good reasons to join your flying school, some of which I'll have to highlight. First of all, when a student does his flying, sir, I want your inputs on this.
Definitely, definitely.
When a student does his flying, what is his goal? What does he wants to achieve? He has two ways in front of him. Either he can join a flying school after his CPL as an instructor, or go into airlines as an airline pilot. Now, 99.9% will opt for the second option. They want to fly bigger jets, right? Now, when that is the idea, like, I have spoken to my students who completed their CPL in Skyview. They do 100 different types of approaches, like by the end of their CPL. Like, for example, like, you have to highlight, or you have to say, you have to, tell us more about the instrument flying that happens in your flying school, sir.
So, like you mentioned, there are so many reasons, but if we list down some of the highlight reasons, and since you started about the instrument approach conversation, the airport that we have, of course, it has about 330 days plus worth of good flying weather, where there are no thunderstorms, no tornadoes, none of that. It's really pretty out there. We have 2 runways on both of our bases. We have 2 locations there. Both locations have 2 runways, almost perpendicular. And the benefit that we get from that is, at initial stage of their training, they don't need so much of crosswind flying. You're just learning how to fly. So it's always a step-by-step process. So with having 2 runways, let's say if you're going from X runway and the winds are too much crosswind, we switch to another runway. And having both runways almost perpendicular, that gives us all clockwise directions, whichever runway we can pick from, to maximize your utilization of your flight hours without having to deal with too much crosswind at the initial stage. Alternatively, when you get to the next stage where you're getting ready for solo, you need to practice with crosswind landings. So it's one of the requirements. And so now we have option to choose a runway that gives us crosswind landings. So they get that practice as well, which is very important. And that's about the basic flying. Now, for instrument flying, I'll tell you a quick story. Some 20 years ago, when I started flying in India, my instructor took me for instrument approaches, and we did about maybe one approach that I remember. There was some far airport, and great instructor, the guy that I started my journey with, great instructor, I respect him a lot. But the problem was, and that was the infrastructure of Indian aviation back then, and still kind of sort of it is for the flight training environment. At that time, he showed me one instrument approach. When he was showing me that instrument approach. Remember, that's the key word. He was showing me the instrument approach.
So
When
you're saying that you did not fly that instrument.
yeah, that's why I was highlighting the word showing, right? So he showed me the instrument approach, and here I'm sitting on the left side, my instructor on the right side. He's showing me the instrument approach. This is how it's flown. For me, it was magical moment. And let me define magic. Magic is when you see something happening, but you don't know how it happened. That's magic, right? So it was magical for me. I was happy. Now, I didn't know any better. Was that the best training I was receiving? Or there is better? Or there's more exposure to it? Again, the place where I did my training, the instructor hired great people. No issue with that. But this is just my comparison with what's better outside in the world. Further down, when I learned that I'm not just supposed to watch this magic happen, I have to learn how to do that magic. So now it was like, okay, if I just had to watch someone do that, and unfortunately back then we didn't have online resources like Dr. Pilot 10, the online stuff that we can go and get useful resources. So, but I could have maybe gone on YouTube and watched a video how that magic happens. Long story short, now the location that we have in California, at both of our airports, we have 3 instrument approaches, 3 different types of instrument approaches, from VR to GPS and LDA. We have all different approaches. So you get to practice that every day. Not just that you get to practice that. By the way, we don't do magic. We actually teach how to fly those. You're actually hands-on flying them. And of course, there are a lot of learning curves. These things are not easy for anyone to become a pilot, a good pilot. And another thing I always tell people is before you try to become a pilot, you have to become a great aviator. Unless and until you are an aviator, it's difficult to become a pilot. Everyone's aviator, starting from flight dispatchers to the operations to mechanics to pilots. Everyone's aviator. And then they're pilot. Pilot is one of the branches of being an aviator. People who are not even in aviation professional, they can still become an aviator. It's something that comes from the passion. So we have 3 instrument approaches at each of our location. Not just there are a lot of domestic international airports around us. We go there all the time, practice all different types of approaches at different runways, different airports. Now what that does is, because we all know in airline flying, and Captain Rahul can add to this at a later point, that when you go in airline, it's all instrument flying. Doesn't matter how clear weather is outside, it's all instrument flying. Yeah. Now, the thing in today's time and age is it's not about the 200 hours. You know, I always say I can make a monkey how to fly. My chief pilot back in the day used to also say that. And that's true. You can make a monkey how to fly. You go to fair, circuses, you see monkeys do tricks. Okay? You can teach monkey anything. Will anyone fly an airplane that a monkey is piloting? No. That's where you need a skilled human in there. So when we do so many instrument approaches, so many different types of landings, real time, that will make you that skilled pilot. Now you go for airline interview, whether in India or Taiwan or wherever it may be, you are actually able to crack those interviews because you actually learn the skills. And not just that, when you're flying airline, you're going to different airports all the time. You're not just going to do one approach for the rest of your life. So you need to learn these skills. So along with a great location, then instrument approaches facility, the other highlights of Skyview is the competitive pricing. And then I'm not going to go too much in detail. You can share that with everyone later on. Along with that, the pay-as-you-go system. Recently, it happened at a lot of schools in US, unfortunately, that when students were paying big deposits like $15,000, $20,000, they pay that even before they go there. Once they reach there, they realize that, okay, I was told the school has so many airplanes, but actually that's not true. There might be that many airplanes, but how many are flyable airplanes? I get these questions a lot these days. When we tell people how many airplanes we have, then the question comes back as how many of those are flyable airplanes? And then I kind of laugh like, if those are not flyable, why would I tell you that count? So when I tell you a count, those are flyable airplanes. So we have a huge fleet right now, 23 airplanes and plus. Last time we met just 9 months ago, we had 17. 9 months later, we have 23 airplanes. So it's a very growing academy right now with aircraft, with instructors. Standardized training is another key point. It's all the training that we do. It's under Part 141. There are some schools doing training in 61 or whatnot. There is a big debate about it. But as far as my understanding, all the training is supposed to be done in Part 141 environment for international students. Along with that, another big key highlight is we have in-house maintenance. Now, here's how it helps. For example, a friend of mine yesterday who flies for an airline in India. He was about to go for a flight, and then they found out the windshield was cracked for that airplane. This is airline in India. So they found out, okay, the windshield is cracked. Of course, you cannot fly like that. Next morning, he had another flight, and this airplane's windshield was supposed to be replaced within few hours. So you can continue the flights. Okay, that's the whole purpose of airplane. This morning, I had another conversation with him, and turned out the part, nobody knows where the part is. So what I'm trying to connect that with is we have in-house maintenance. We carry a lot of parts in inventory for Cessna fleet and some of our Piper fleet also, that we know there's some parts like starter, alternator, magneto, spark plugs. A lot of these parts, when you fly, these are machines. When you fly them, they break. That's just nature of any machine. We carry these parts with us for a quicker return to service, of course, with safety. The mechanics team we have 7 crew currently working all the time on school airplane. Of course, we service outside customer also, but the flight school takes priority. Our lead mechanic, he has 40 years worth of experience in one of the world's largest airlines. It's United Airlines. He comes from United Airlines, 40 years of experience. Another mechanic that we have, he also does a lot of DAR duties. He has 37 years of experience in maintenance. And he's a pilot also. You rarely find this kind of aviators. They are pilots and mechanic. The other mechanic we have is got 20 plus years of experience. And then we have some newer ones that we're also training, or the fresh licensed mechanics as well. So in-house maintenance is a big deal for a flight school or even airline. Actually, the example I was giving you, that airplane is grounded because the cracked windshield, and so many flights for so many days has been canceled. The housing is very close by. It's a full furnished housing that comes with, and I was talking to a lot of people that someone were trying to get flight training in Florida as well, which again has a lot of bad weather and whatnot, but relatively Florida is cheaper than California, but still our housing is cheaper than even what you get in Florida for the most part. Central AC heating, microwave oven, refrigerator, stove, dishwasher, washer dryer, gym, clubhouse in the complex. It's gated community, so it's secured. Swimming pool, a lot of fun stuff. Because of course, it's not just flying. You know how you also do a lot of fun stuff with students, and captain also does that. So there has to be that. That actually improves their learning ability. Because at the end of the day, everyone's human, right? Yeah. A lot of the students, they come halfway around the world. They sometimes miss their home, or sometimes they need different activities. So we have all of this stuff. And then there are a lot of other reasons, but these are some of the key highlights if I had to mention. And also recently we started, one of our friends' nephew, he was doing his training, he completed his commercial pilot license. Then he became instructor then, certified flight instructor. Then we applied for work authorization for him on the M1 visa. He got the work authorization. He worked for 4 months to be precise. And he got some maybe 300, 400 hours of teaching experience. Now he's back in India, and of course he's got better opportunity ahead of us. But we have that option also. It's not for everyone, but for few selected candidates, we do those as well. So these are some of the key highlights. And I'm going to pass it to Captain Rahul for or you. And then I wanted him as an airline industry expert, pilot, captain, wanted to highlight on the importance of instrument flying.
Yes, sir. Sir, before I pass the mic, I want to highlight one point. This is what happens on a regular basis. We get calls to the office or my personal number saying, sir, I have approached or, a flying school through so and so, let's say an agent or a website or somebody. And now I have reached the US. After I came here, I found out this is total bullshit. Like, I'm not your student. How can you help me?
Oh, let me. Oh, I have to say something. Yeah.
So, like,
Yes.
I have, asked them directly to approach Skyview and they have cleared their CPL with you. Right. So, like, I want you to
Oh
highlight
yes, this is a major problem right now in the United States. And so, just to reiterate your question, you're saying that they go to some other schools, then they find out it's really bad. Now they want a solution. So, literally 2 days ago, we had a student transferred from another school within California to us, and it was very much similar story that he was told something else. He went there. He was different. Then he reached out to us directly. He reached out to a common friend that we have, and even he was like, "Well, why didn't you go to Skyview?" That's number one reason, that whatever you're told, that's what you actually get once you get there. A little bit later on, I'll also mention about the check ride fee reimbursement and the knowledge fee reimbursement, knowledge test fee. But for now, on this topic, so a lot of places it's happening. I would say about a year, and between the last and the year before, we had almost 2 dozen students transferred to us from other schools, mainly from Florida. There are some schools that we get high volume of students transferred to us, and then on loose account also we get so many students transferred to us for the same reason. Either they went there without being told the actual reality, or once they get there, they either find out, oh, there's so many hurricane thunderstorms come here, so we're not flying. Also, a lot of times they go and there are not enough airplanes, not enough instructors. That's another problem.
a lot of students already who have reached there 1 year back are still waiting.
Yeah. So versus we just had this student lately about a month ago. He completed his entire training from start to finish in 7.5 months. So 7.5 months, and if I mention the price, he paid total about $53,000, everything. So he completed it in 7.5 months, $53,000. I don't think you can do that at so many places. Now, again, I'm not saying everyone completes in 7.5 months. The average is 8 to 10 months. It goes even more sometimes, individual to individual basis.
So when it comes to US, what I understand is it depends on students' passion for flying, interest for flying, and his capability also. Like, like if they fail a check ride, it's again a headache to kind of go forward, and they have to spend more time and more money. So it is not a fixed price. But if you are really passionate, if a student is really passionate and he is on his toes when it comes to flying, he can complete in the shortest time possible in the least amount of expenses, is what I understand. Is my thinking right or wrong, sir?
That's correct. That's very much correct. Now, for example, that student I gave you example completed in 7.5 months. In the past, we also had some students completed in 6 months as well. It is doable. Now, I tell all the students, especially when one student completes in record time, and we broadcast a message to all of our students that just go and talk to that student. How did he do it? Because he has the same resources of our fleet, the instructors, maintenance, office staff, same airplanes. They have same resources as everyone else. Why is one person able to complete in 7.5 months versus somebody taking 8 to 10 months or some longer? So it does depend on individual's ability or dedication. Let's not use the word ability. When I started my training 20 years ago, if somebody would have question of pilots' history on ability, I was zero. Was my dedication there? No, nothing. I was just a new guy in Ramphal Chalk trying to figure out what happens in flying. Eventually, the ability got there. Now I have, of course, commercial pilot license, single engine, multi-engine. Then I became instructor, single engine, multi-engine, instrument instructor. And my pass ratio was pretty high. So I got an FA gold seal on my instructor rating. I was teaching all the time and then a lot of stuff. So from not being able to pass the check right or even knowledge test, now I'm on the other side of the table. And the only answer to that is that dedication and hard work. There is no other way. There's no other way to do that. And you mentioned passion. Everyone comes with passion, but of course you have to put that hard work to be able to get on the other side of the table. So yes, the time varies for everyone. And also the brochure and the pricing information we disclose. We have on red color highlighted on all course details that this is on FA minimum course hours. Every single place that I talk to, the student that I talk to, I mentioned that you have to keep 15 to 20% buffer. Even to that same guy who completed in 7.5 months. We had told him that yes, it's doable in less time, but you must account for 15 to 20% buffer. What happens? A lot of times they go there on, the schools would tell them, okay, X amount of cost, and the flight training, etc. The reality is, no matter where you go, 15-20% buffer will take. That's an average. That's an average. What we do is we tell them ahead of time. So they don't come there with the base price expectation, and then they might have to stop their training to collect additional funds, which is a hassle for parents, families, and the student, of course. So we keep it 100% transparent, and that's one of the many reasons why you and I have been able to continue this relationship. How you are very transparent with your students about everything, and your staff is. We do the same way, and that's important. So yes, the time varies. That was your question. I would say 8 to 10 months is a good time for an average student. If you're above average, less than 8 months. Otherwise, if you don't study, if you're like me when I was doing my training, more than 10 months.
Yes, yes. Sir, I have two questions for you. This is what I believe. Like, sir, I have one question for you as of now. Like, you have been flying since, a long time. Sir, what is the, total number of hours you have?
So,
If I can ask.
yes, so I have more than 10,000 hours of flying experience and more than 4,000 hours of instructional experience. So I'm working as a trainer also with the airline. And to continue where Captain Jay left it, dedication and hard work. So now a lot of people are coming with passion. They have a dream to become pilot, and their ultimate goal is to become an airline pilot. I want to add that one thing. The goal should not be to become an airline pilot. The goal should to become an confident airline pilot. Now, from where this confidence will come? Now the role comes for the ground training as well as the flight training. The ground training, if your basics are not clear, I have seen so many kids, they are just writing exams just to pass the exams. Just scoring 70 is their ultimate goal, not to have the ultimate knowledge of the subject. I can quote with the live examples. Regulation subject, everybody takes it for granted. This is the most important subject. I was doing training for a kid, and he had no idea about lighting, marking on the runway. He has flown 200 hours on a flying training, no idea about lightings and runway markings. He was not confident in the cockpit. Now, coming to the flying part, I was flying with another trainee one day. I asked about shooting ILS approach. The trainee was not confident. I asked him, what is the reason? Why not want to do a ILS approach? The answer was, he's never done an ILS approach. So throughout his training, he has never done ILS approaches. He was not confident in the cockpit. So we can see it. You can achieve your goal to become an airline pilot, but to survive there, you have to be a dedicated, hardworking guy, and that comes with proper guidance through ground classes. No shortcuts. with choosing a flying club, this is a base of your career. With Skyview, I am in touch with Jay from past 15, 16 years. And the kind of training, airspace, infrastructure, approaches, instrument aids, what experience or overall experience a trainee gets there, it automatically comes into the blood of the training. Once you join an airline, there are n number of things, new things to learn. If your basics are not clear, you will always be underconfident. And trust me, life looks like a hell. When you are in the cockpit, 200 plus souls sitting behind, and a small mistake can take you on the other side. And with this culture coming up, safety is the paramount. Safety does not come with knowledge. Safety does not come only with flying skills. They have to go side by side, together and together. So hard work, dedication, not to do a smart study, just do whatever the basics you should clear, and then flying skills. Both are required to become a confident pilot.
Yes, sir.
So that is my take.
Yes, sir. Sir, like I have my opinion, my opinion when it comes to DGCA exams, because if you see in many social media forms, when I speak that, certain lines, people will get agitated. You are wrong. You don't need to say that. Here is my opinion. Two things. One is, if you are becoming a pilot, if a student is becoming a pilot, he will have to fly till he retires. So every day in aircraft, something or the other thing comes up. Like for example, today, let's say ILS is not serviceable. We have to do a VOR approach. If his knowledge on VOR is less, or his concepts are not very clear, then he would be not very confident on that approach.
Yes.
Now that is the first point, that whatever he learns in the ground school should be very perfect, that he will apply in real life scenarios in the cockpit.
Yes.
Second point is, as of now, currently, some student is thinking of, I'll get a license today. I'll start my journey to get a license, commercial pilot license. Now, if you see, this student is still thinking of getting a license. There are in the market in India at least 3,000 plus CPL holders who has a license waiting for a job. Now, what I understand is, whenever an airline, let's say Air India, Indigo, Akasa, anything, whenever an airline wants to hire pilot, it will announce vacancies. Let's say X airline came with 200 vacancies. The amount of students or CPL holders who are going to apply for that airline would be close to 3,000. Now, an airline will say, I'll conduct an airline entrance examination which has 100 questions. In this exam, let's say a student scores 90 marks. If there are 400, 500 students with 90 plus marks, if your score is 90, will you get a job? No. The simple answer is no. Now, my emphasis is, anyway you are preparing for your DGCA exams, do not target 99 marks, target 100.
Yes.
Why not? That will secure your job in future. Like for example, when it comes to me, like any student can record this, and you can show it later. I guarantee students, if I'll take one subject as an example, navigation. If you can show me 100% attendance for 3 months, do not even miss a single class, and give me homework every day. I'll give 50, 60 questions of homework which will take 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Do the homework, send it in our channel. I'll monitor the homework. If you can do these two things, homework and this thing, by the end of 3 months, there will not be a single question. You pick up any navigation book in this world which you cannot solve. I have concise syllabus, and I have put it there. Now, if you can show your dedication for navigation for 3 months and total for all subjects for 6 months. Like, I have never seen a student, in past 5 years who have shown that and did not get an airline job. And I have never seen a student who did not show so much interest in ground classes, or who did ground classes like for 70 marks, gave 2-3 attempts and just cleared and got a license.
A smart study.
Yeah. Getting a job. They never get a job. So there are two types of students. One, those who will definitely get a job, those who are dedicated, and those who will definitely not get a job. So this is my opinion. And when I say this, there is a lot of backlash on the internet. So as an airline pilot, seeing many students who are coming under you in the airline, I want you to say, am I right or am I wrong?
So I totally agree with you, Captain Vamsi. I have been also teaching the same. My thought process is same. If you are dedicated, you are punctual, you are regular. Whatever teacher is asking you to do, if you are attempting all the questions, doing all the homework, that becomes your habit of being punctual, being regular, listening to your mentor. If that becomes your habit, definitely I have not seen from so many years a person is dedicated is not getting an airline job. There are a lot of people, they creep in the market. There are no jobs. I tell you my example. I was studying day and night. I cleared my classes. I did my flying.
Sir, yesterday when we were discussing, you said about your nav marks.
So I never took classes. I studied my own. I scored 94 marks in 2008 in navigation. And trust me, at that time, there were no jobs in the market. And the only thing which I used to say to myself, if a single job will come in the market, I will be the one who will be getting that job. So that was my goal, my passion that time. But how I achieved it, I was dedicated for it. Luckily I had few mentors who were mentoring me, and I was just studying day and night, listening to my seniors, my mentors who were guiding me, and having good support from my mentors. By God's grace also, I achieved my goal. First vacancy which came, and I got through.
Guys, I also want to say that sir takes ground classes. I'll drop the number, and how to contact sir for the ground classes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
On that note, I have to mention that when I planned this, that I was going to meet you and I was going to meet him, but the liberty that I took to meet both of you together, because I'm here for a limited period of time, I'm going back. And this is the most beautiful thing I have seen in my entire trip this time, that two different ground school providers, they are helping each other, supporting each other, sharing ideas how to make it better. That thing is so much lacking. Every other time people are trying, how do I get the markets? How do I get the markets? And I believe strongly in it. There is enough cheese for everyone. So, yeah.
Sir, in this trip, of yours, meeting sir, I got to learn a lot of things. Sir promised a few things, to teach me.
Coming up. Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah.
So like it is like I am the guy who benefited most out of this.
Sure, yeah. As long as people are benefiting, that's what it is, right?
Yes.
And like I mentioned, I've known him for almost 20 years now. We stopped counting at some point. And I've known you for so long. And it's very hard to have those leaders like you guys in India. They are not just giving ground training, but they're also guiding students in the right direction. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of things you do for your students. Money is never discussion there. You don't even charge for those things. And same thing with Captain Rahul. So usually it's the other way around. First put some money, then I'll answer your question. And that, it's about guiding those students or their parents actually. Yesterday I met someone's parents. Day before yesterday I was in Delhi. I forgot where I was. Yeah, Delhi. And there I met a student and their parents. And it was so satisfactory to talk to their parents also one-on-one, because these are big decisions for them. Should I make my kid a pilot? Should I make him a doctor or engineer? Doctor engineering is always there in India. Even in US, most of the doctors are from Indian descent. So when it comes to leading the aviation in India, India is lucky to have leaders or mentors like you guys to actually help them get to their destination. Not just that, okay, ground school done, now goodbye. Like your students, like sometimes if there are any question concerns, even when they're with me over there in Skyview, but they still reach out to you sometimes. Then you and I talk and we figure out. Otherwise, you could also be like, okay, it's done, ground school, now it's Skyview. Same thing with him. One of his very close student came to us. He's training with us right now. And he's always in touch with me. How is he doing? What's the status? Is making a progress? So these things are very important. And end of the day, see, once anyone gets in this industry to become a pilot, they'll become a pilot. For me, it wasn't an 8 to 10 months thing. For me, it was years worth of work. But to have that hand holding that you guys are doing, that's very important. And not just after that they get commercial pilot license. Even after they come back, you guys are still there. Of course, I have my Skyviews team in India as well to help with conversion and whatnot. But even after they come back, you guys are still in touch that, okay, how can we still do the conversion, help with the airline interview process, whatnot. So it's very important.
Sir, here, I would really like to thank you for giving me that space. For example, if any of my student at Skyview faces a issue, the first thing they do is like pick up the phone and they call me. Sir, ये कैसे करना है? Sir से discuss करूँ या नहीं? Then most of times my answer is like not to worry, I'll call Vyas sir. I mean, that is the best thing that a flying school like Skyview can, give it to us, who are guiding students here. This school is a good school. We have that liberty with you. That is something which I ask. And till date, very minor issues which were solved over a phone call. That's it. And I would really thank you for giving such a service to students. I mean, in the entire, so aviation is a small world, right?
Sure.
So it is very rare and hard to find such gems in the industry. I'm really thankful.
Getting right people. Getting right people is also a blessing, but still in the market we have choice. We have to look around to get right people along with you. Being with him from almost 20 years, I still remember one of my first student is still like a family member. And in between, right now, whosoever is taking classes from me, they are like family members. Guiding them to achieve their goal becomes my target. So meeting right people at the right time is a major step to achieve your goal. Yeah, that's what I believe in this. Yeah.
Sir, any questions for me?
No questions. On the last point you mentioned, I remember that before you sent your first student, you called me and your only question was like, okay, I'm going to start sending students. Can you promise that if there is an issue, you can call me directly and we can sort that out? And I said, yes. And matter of fact, that actually made me happy that you will remain actively involved, just how Captain Rahul is also doing. And this is, so we're as a team helping each student at a time. And earlier I mentioned about the timeline and cost and those stuff. So what we have been doing, and we're seeing great result of this, whoever is going for knowledge exam, in FAA, if they are taking 100 out of 100, we reimburse their knowledge exam fee. That's the fee they pay to the center, not to us. They pay to the center to take the exam. If they take 100 out of 100, we reimburse that fee. That motivates students to study more with the financial advantage. Also, when they pass most of their check writes with first time at minimum hours, we also reimburse the check write fee, which could be $1,000, $1,200 per check write. We have so many students these days are completing because of that reason. Now, one student completes, the other 3-4 students get motivated. That, okay, if he did it, I can do it too. We haven't seen so much in private, but instrument and commercial is becoming extremely common. Everyone is trying to complete at minimum time. A lot of students have on our Facebook, Instagram, we put that out when we do that. So there are actual people that we pay actual money as a credit. It's an account credit, but it's still a lot of money. The other great fun fact that I'm extremely proud of my team, private pilot minimum requirements is 40 hours. It's rarely that you would ever hear someone complete a private pilot in 40 hours. Like I also just mentioned, private is not so common. Instrument commercial, they get to that stage. They can complete at minimum time. Just about a week ago, we had a student. When he started, he did his first solo flight at 9.8 hours. Which is again pretty good. We have a lot of students do 12, 13, 18, 17, a lot of low hours, but 9.8 is one of the remarkable ones. That same student got his private pilot license at 40 hours. Again, it's not for everyone, but again, it's not impossible also. That's the message I want everyone to have, that if that one person did it, why cannot others do that? And what I mentioned earlier, we have same resources for everyone. Staff, aircraft, mechanics, weather conditions, same for everyone. So one person's doing it, the others can do it too. So,
Sir, from my experience in terms of being a doctor and getting into aviation, getting my commercial pilot license, what I understand is, for example, you're doing some sort of a preparation for anything like your PPL, or let's say you're going to write an exam, DGC exams. You always have to aim the best mark.
Yes.
Like PPL in 40 hours should be your target. You may not achieve it, but trust me, if that is your mindset, you will go, or you will push yourself to go as close as possible to that number, or in that exam, that score. So I wish all students that year have high standards, aim higher. When you want to reach like let's say 100 feet, at least you will jump for 10 feet at one point in time. You keep on aiming 100 feet, which is not possible. You also know that, but the moment you aim the highest, you will push yourself to the best. Is what I understand.
If I may add one thing. So when we have students getting ready for knowledge test and they come for the endorsements and whatnot, and when I happen to see that conversation, I ask them same question. Okay, you're going for knowledge test. How much you're going to get? Some say 80. Some say 90. Some say I studied so hard. I gave my best. I will get 95 plus. For sure. And I tell all of them, wrong answer. Until and unless you say 100, it's just not going to happen. And the kids who tell me that I studied my best, I'm going to get 95 plus. Well, if you did your best, it's going to be 100. If you're aiming for 95, you might get 90.
Yeah.
So very much in alignment with what you say. You have to aim that to be able to achieve it. If you just set the bar low, then you're already at the failure. So you have to set the bar high for yourself.
For this thing, I want to add up one point. Like, again, in the practical flying, what I have seen, again, I told you, your knowledge and your flying skills go side by side. You cannot be good in one and lacking one. This is not the profession. You have to be good in both of the things. In my practical flying, I've seen airline flying is mostly autopilot flying, but yes, approaches has to be flown manually. But then you can have different type of trainees disconnecting autopilot in minimums and landing the aircraft, struggling, not compensating for the winds, so many factors. Then you can have trainees, they voluntarily ask 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet, disconnecting pilot, flying manually, getting the feel of the aircraft, getting the compensation for the environment factors. So you can make out the kind of training that guy, the kind of confidence he got through his flying training. So getting your basics clear, to have a good mentor for that, no shortcuts for that, having a good ground school as well as a flying club where you will learn your instrument flying, your attitude flying is a must. It will make you a superb pilot in the cockpit.
True.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm really honored, to be able to participate in such a good discussion. I mean, I would love all the upcoming pilots and my students, to see, this video, so that, they will get the real insights of, okay, what they have to really concentrate. Like if somebody, was said, here, 70 marks, DGCA itself is saying, why do you need 90? See, students are made to think in that mindset. Yes, sir. So, I'm really thankful that, you guys, the experts in the industry, are giving this insight. Yes, sir. Anything, sir? Anything else you want to add?
Then I need to
No.
catch up on the flight also.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Captain Vamsi, for doing this, giving me the opportunity to be able to, share the experience and what are the goods and bads of the industry, and also allowing me to bring Captain Rahul Khariwal, who, just imagine, from someone who I was taking my classes one day to now sit with him and do this. And of course, the kind of leader you are. So it's an honor for me to be here today. Thank you very much.
Today my stomach is so full, I'll skip the dinner. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, really, thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.